to maintaining large lots to trails to open space, which I think is in jeopardy.
We can certainly do an update on our,
Okay,
on
and
our
then,
subcommittee.
how do we, I mean, if you guys are in agreement, I would like Streets and Trails to specifically address my question.
What would be the proper
How would we
way
do
as
that?
far as just direct staff?
Yes, we can take an item to Streets and Trails, but let me make sure that we're on the same page as far as what the Streets and Trails is going to be charged with doing. I think the code is clear, and the Public Works Director recently made a presentation on the responsibilities of residents with respect to taking care of trails in front of their property. So the issue, I believe, is how do we enforce those provisions that currently exist in the code? For those who cannot take care of that, how do we determine a funding mechanism whereby the city will take care of that? If that's the item you're asking of, certainly can take that to the Streets and Trails Commission to have them examine that. But I think there are no ambiguity as far as what the code provides as far as the responsibility of residents taking care of the trails in front of their property.
Microphone, please. We can't hear.
Well, as I read it, it doesn't seem all that clear, and I'm totally fine with what you just said, Andy. Maybe they'll come up with a different way to fund the trails. I don't know. I would just like to answer the question, finally, what we're going to do about the preservation of the trails in the city of Norco, how we're going to fund those trails. If we're going to fund those trails, what are we going to do moving forward? It's a question that actually we've been asking for quite some time, which most people don't understand that, 2009 was very difficult. A lot of what we were doing is just becoming solvent, keeping our police department, keeping our substation, fire department. Those were key critical issues. Well, now we have a little breathing room. I think we need to address trails.
Chad?
Councilor Bash, I can say emphatically, the last subcommittee meeting, we had a very healthy conversation about trails, what trails to be done, how we maintain trails, what's the future of the trails. And we're bringing back more items to have even greater discussions about that, because part of that is discussing what do we want our trails to look like, how they should be maintained, what is that standard. So that is something we're working on. We can add in regarding potential discussion if there's any way to find a mechanism to ensure that to assist the residents in regards to if they can't maintain the trail, how we can do, whether it's an assessment or something they can pay. And there's a lot of legal things with that as far as what could be involved. But it is something that we're taking up and we're going to aggressively work on.
All right, thank you.
Chad?
Got a couple of things. We talked earlier about the school safety, and Chad, how's Eric, how's these three-way stop sign at Hillside and 2nd Street now the school's been in place? Has that been a big impact, good, positive? Hopefully it is.
I don't have any data on that right now. We could check and do some research. I think the telltale where the most heavy traffic is occurring now with the opening of the school year, so we can check on that and report back to you.
I'm just curious, because that was a long-term request from the school to even the residents that live in there. So it doesn't have to be a big formal presentation. If you can just, it's been in place, maybe come back in December, see how we did, if we had less accidents or less congestion back there because of it, we appreciate it. Just to see if we did something positive up there. And then the other thing, and Chad, this is back into your corner, waste management, we were talking about doing a citywide collection, and we were going to use, hopefully, the Corridon staging area parking lot to do that. Could you get with Glenda from Chavez from Waste Management and find out? That was going to be instead of the public dump day, we plan on doing that, and that's what we talked about at our meeting there with them, and they were going to look at that. And I know Julie's gone now, but if you can follow up that, make sure whatever dump day you selected, but let's try to avoid putting it on the days in October, like avoid those days that we already have big events scheduled. so we don't do that. Appreciate it, probably the latter part of October. And then finally, this one's to Steve, and I don't know if it's been 6 months yet, but I'm thinking we're getting close to it. The accessory building, I know the mayor wanted to see an update on what we did. So I believe we did that in April, so again, it's something maybe we can look at seeing in October, if that's right.
I don't think anything's been approved since then.
We don't have any, there's just a couple, but we were gonna look at it in 6, we just review it in 6 months, just to see how we're doing on it, and I think that was an April approval, so if we can look at it come October, not put any pressure on you. Just reminder that we did plan to do that. And that's all I got, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Robin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As far as the 50th anniversary for the high school, please know we're in the preliminary phases of that. If you can tentatively hold March 24th, 2018 on your calendars for a gala event for the 50th, that would be wonderful.
Thank you. Berwin?
No, sir.
Lieutenant?
Nothing.
Chief?
No, sir.
Tina? Brian? Welcome back.
Thank you. See everybody at the rodeo this weekend.
All right. Steve?
Where you at?
Chad?
Just one comment, I didn't check with staff today for the status, but I believe the dual left turn lanes at Hidden Valley and Hamner are complete, or very near complete, so those should be up and running to send folks eastbound from Hamner onto Hidden Valley, so hopefully we'll help improve a little bit of traffic flow there.
And if I remember correctly, you said those other two would be done by sometime in December? Is that what
Well, the goal is this fiscal year, but it's really dependent on how quickly we can get review from Caltrans. That's our biggest hurdle, is once we get approval from them, then we can just go out to bid and get construction, but Caltrans is the biggest hurdle, and we're just in that beginning process with them.
All right, thank you.
Would you do a follow-up on, I think we should have had it done by now, on those signal arms, they're that pseudo-type camera with the loose wires at First and Hamner and somewhere else.
There was actually
Hidden Valley?
There's actually four. There was a Second Street, Hidden Valley, First Street,
Right.
and they've all been removed.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
everything.
good job.
Literally the next day.
I forgot, how's our North Avenue coming?
It's progressing slow. We're trying to get the bid out for the trail fencing, and so I'm waiting to pull out the existing trail fencing until I know I have the contractor ready to go in and put it back. We have authorized Hardin Harper to do the median that's going to have the new stop sign on California North. We've authorized the contractor to do the conduits that are going to go under the street into the medians. To do that work, we're going to be installing the water meter and everything ourselves, and we're supposed to be close to finishing the final design of the marquee sign with the previous person who did the design in the first place for the one that's on Hamner and Detroit. So we're trying to push them along, it's just different pieces, but we're pushing them.
December?
September?
No, it's December, I would be nice to.
To be gracious would be October.
I'm going to push as best
There
I
you
can.
go. October is, appreciate that. Cheryl?
Just quickly, I want to invite the public to visit the city booth at the Norco Fair over the Labor Day weekend. Starting on August 31st, city staff will be available to answer questions. We have information, and any questions you may have, we're there to help. Pick up brochures and just learn about our programming and services that the city offers.
Thank you, Cheryl. Andy? Okay, well, thank you all and have a good evening. We're adjourned.